Felicia Hardy, birth 616. Early life. Felicia Hardy's father Walter Hardy was a world-renowned cat burglar who, before his arrest, encouraged her to never settle for second best. For example, if she loved basketball, she should work to become a basketball player and not just a cheerleader. During her freshman year in college, she had gone to a party and was nearly raped by a drunken student in a bathroom when she was saved by another student, named Ryan. Felicia and Ryan became close friends, spending most of their time together until one night Ryan demanded that it was time for their relationship to become physical. Felicia's protests were in vain. Hating the idea of being a victim, she decided that she would murder her rapist despite the consequences. She put aside her studies and began training in various fighting styles and acrobatics. After months of preparing, she set out for revenge, but before she could find him, Ryan was killed in a drunk driving accident. Black Cat. Furious that she was denied the chance to steal the life of the man who had stolen hers, and feeling reckless, Hardy decided to utilize her new skills to follow in the footsteps of her father. After having been arrested, Felicia was freed from prison by the Black Fox, her father's mentor, who took Felicia as his new pupil. After amassing a fortune in stolen items, Felicia chose to adopt a costume identity. She first donned the Black Cat costume in order to break her father out of prison. On the same night, she met Spider-Man. Despite her antipathy towards men, Felicia felt a kinship with this lone hero. Spider-Man was the first man she felt she could trust, and she grew to love him. Felicia looked for a way to earn his trust and continued with the Black Cat persona as a misguided attempt to attract his affection. However, she was still cunning enough to fake mental instability when captured, ensuring she was housed in a less secure facility. When she was released, Felicia initially agreed to go straight for Spider-Man, and the web-slinger even had his friend on the force Captain DeWolf begin drawing up amnesty papers. The Black Cat decided to pull one last big score, however, and attempted to manipulate Spider-Man into joining her life of crime. He tried to capture her again, but Felicia seemingly flung herself to her death rather than go back to jail. Captain DeWolf ironically arrived with the now useless amnesty papers shortly after. Relationship with Spider-Man. The Black Cat finally found the opportunity to prove herself after learning the Kingpin controlled an incredibly powerful detonator. The Owl planned to use the weapon to hold New York City hostage. Dr. Octopus, however, planned to use the weapon to destroy the city altogether. But the Black Cat was able to use her abilities to steal the item first and protect it from all parties. She gave the detonator to Spider-Man and became the target of Doc Ock's revenge. Although Spider-Man was able to tear off his mechanical appendages, Octopus was still able to mentally control them and hold the Black Cat still while his men opened fire. Spider-Man barely got her to the hospital in time, and as they operated on the dozens of bullet and knife wounds, Peter realized just how much he cared for Felicia, eventually starting to love her. After she recovered, they began a relationship and soon Peter revealed his identity to her. But Felicia had great difficulty accepting the fact that Peter was just a man beneath the mask and couldn't understand his need for a civilian life. Peter was hurt, but continued the relationship since it was the first time he didn't need to hide his life as Spider-Man. Initially, the accidents which seemed to befall those who crossed the Black Cat's path were merely well-planned stunts and traps. After her near-death experience, Felicia feared her lack of superpowers made her a liability for Spider-Man. She was terrified that his overwhelming need to protect her would eventually kill him. So, when Spider-Man disappeared during the Secret Wars, Felicia sought out a way to make herself Spider-Man's equal. After being rejected by the Avengers and the Fantastic Four, Felicia was offered an opportunity to undergo a process similar to that used to create the Scorpion and the Fly. Only after the process was completed did Felicia learn the power came from the Kingpin. Afraid of how Spider-Man would react, she kept her new abilities secret from Peter. Her newly gained bad luck power was infectious and began to permanently jinx Spider-Man, which was exactly the Kingpin's intent. Feeling a wall of secrets growing between them, Spider-Man broke up with Felicia, which infuriated her since she was just about to break up with him to protect him from the effects of her jinx. Spider-Man eventually realized something was amiss with his own luck and enlisted the aid of Doctor Strange. Strange determined there was a permanent bad luck aura around Spider-Man. Peter rightly connected the phenomena to Felicia, but unfairly assumed she did it on purpose. He told Doctor Strange to remove the jinx. Despite Strange's warnings, it might have unexpected side effects on Felicia. Indeed, Strange's magic not only removed the jinx, but changed the Black Cat's powers in the process. She discovered her bad luck powers were gone, but replaced by a heightened strength, agility, balance, vision, and retractable claws. The Black Cat updated her look and her attitude and rekindled her relationship with Spider-Man. She made peace with his need for a normal life as Peter Parker and stood by him while he was being accused of murder as Spider-Man. Together, they tracked down the source of the elaborate scheme to frame him and fought the mercenary known as the Foreigner. Eventually, just as his life seemed to be coming together, Spider-Man came home to discover Black Cat discussing her plans to ruin his life. He followed her to find she had never forgiven him for breaking up with her and in revenge, became the Foreigner's lover. Yet, during her ruse and despite her anger, Felicia began to fall back in love with Peter. In the end, the Black Cat double-crossed the Foreigner and left for Europe to find a new life, which unexpectedly pushed Peter to find support and a new relationship with Mary Jane Watson. Months later, the Black Cat returned to America to seek out Peter Parker and was devastated when informed by Venom that Peter had married Mary Jane Watson. Angry and jealous, Felicia began harassing the couple, physically threatening Mary Jane and taunting Peter as she dated his friend Flash Thompson. The Black Cat eventually moved past her feelings of anger and jealousy, and became friends with both Spider-Man and Mary Jane. After Spider-Man used a device to remove his superhuman abilities, the Black Cat aided him in finding the device again in order to restore them. But in the process, the Black Cat's cat-like abilities were completely erased. She subsequently purchased equipment from the Tinkerer to incorporate into her costume in order to compensate for her lost abilities, and occasionally teamed up with Spider-Man. New life. Felicia began to sincerely care for Thompson, but he eventually broke up with her when he found out her secret, and she went on to open her own private detective and security consultants firm. At some point after this, Black Cat along with the mutant Wolverine were kidnapped and forced to survive against multiple assailants on an uninhabited island. They managed to survive many traps, including the volcano in the middle of the island erupting, and tracked down the one who kidnapped them, Arcade. They easily tracked him down and left him tied up in the Savage Land. Civil War. After Spider-Man unmasked himself during the superhuman civil war resulting from the Superhuman Registration Act, Black Cat was enraged because she felt he had broken the bond she shared with him over knowing his secret identity. Though she was dating Puma, her new romantic interest noted that Felicia appeared to still have some romantic inclinations toward Peter. In the aftermath of the conflict, Peter found a way to magically erase the public knowledge of his alter ego. During the Civil War, Black Cat accepted an offer from Misty Knight and Colleen Wing in the new Heroes for Hire. Felicia, along with her teammates, were assigned to apprehend any unregistered heroes. Back solo. Felicia eventually left Puma and resumed her life of crime, also regaining her bad luck powers by the hand of supervillain scientist Doc Trama in addition to retractile cybernetic claws. Black Cat returned to Spider-Man's life when he stumbled upon her before a break-in. She and Spider-Man took the chance to rekindle their old relationship, with no strings attached and masks kept on at all times. They became an on-again off-again team working together against Mr. Negative and others. Felicia stole a vial of Peter's blood back from Negative and promptly sold it to a group of vampire wannabes, leading Spidey to Morbius. Around this time, Felicia was forced to work for Sasha Kravinoff after her mother was kidnapped. She was forced to steal back the lost family possessions that had been missing since the Russian Revolution. Felicia and Peter parted ways as a couple when Peter began dating Carly Cooper. However, when Spider-Man was captured by Doc Trama, Mary Jane Watson was able to contact the cat to help her save him. Together, they rescued Spider-Man and defeated Trama. The next day, Felicia invited Mary Jane out to lunch and the two of them became fast friends. When a Wi-Fi hologram projector created by a scientist named Wasserschmidt at Horizon Labs was stolen, Felicia was framed and imprisoned. Escaping from custody, Black Cat tried to find who framed her, encountering both Daredevil and Spider-Man. The trio went to Wasserschmidt's apartment to find any clue when they find Wasserschmidt himself in a secret room. According to Wasserschmidt himself, Terra-1 Corporate forced him to commit the theft. While Spidey took Wasserschmidt to a hospital, Felicia and Daredevil went to Terra-1. There, they found the Black Spectre trying to get the projector. Daredevil stopped them while Black Cat found herself with the mastermind of this plan, who wanted Felicia to get him Omega Drive, a piece of technology with data about every criminal organization, which was presently in the hands of Matt Murdock, Daredevil's alter ego. Felicia attempted to start an affair with Murdock in order to get into his apartment, but they didn't consolidate a romance due to Matt being was called to action. Felicia was tempted to steal the Omega Drive from Murdock, but opted not to, and departed, leaving behind a note warning Matt that Black Spectre was after him. In the end, she fell in love with Matt. Due to having betrayed Black Spectre, Felicia went into hiding until the matter was resolved. Downfall and rise to crime boss. Having grown tired of her superhero and criminal activities, Felicia started to save money to retire. During this time, Dr. Octopus had switched bodies with Spider-Man and taken over his life. When he bumped into Felicia in the act of a robbery, he attacked her abruptly and left her to the police. Felicia's stolen treasures were repossessed, and her criminal contacts broke all ties with her. After escaping when Electro destroyed the penitentiary, Felicia got a new costume and vowed to make Spider-Man pay for what happened to her, without knowing at this time the real Peter Parker was behind the mask once again. Having become heartless and revengeful, Felicia set out to become a crime boss rather than a simple cat burglar. She formed an alliance with Electro, another villain who suffered by Spider-Man's hand when Octavius was possessing his body, and used him as an enforcer to establish some dominance over the underworld. Felicia then set her sights on Parker Industries, Peter's own company, which began developing a project for a new super prison. Felicia and Electro interrupted a Parker Industries press conference, drawing Spider-Man's attention and almost unmasking him in the ensuing confrontation. However, he was saved by his newest ally Silk. Black Cat and Electro then attacked a demonstration of a device developed to depower the latter, during which the device ended up fulfilling its task. After cutting ties with Electro, Felicia consolidated her role as a crime boss by assembling her own gang of superpowered villains. Personality: greedy, vengeful, and cynical, much of Felicia Hardy's life has been shaped by loss and trauma, leaving her a jaded woman who looks out for herself at the expense of others. Despite scoffing at the idea of being a superhero, Felicia has frequently acted as a vigilante anti-hero largely due to Spider-Man's influence on her, and has also at times gone straight and used her powers for good as both a vigilante and a private investigator. Encouraged by her father to always be the best, Felicia channeled her rage and humiliation at having been raped into following in her father's footsteps as a cat burglar. After adopting the persona of the Black Cat, Felicia reveled in the freedom it gave her and all but completely discarded her civilian identity, being perplexed by Spider-Man's unwillingness to do so as well. Hating feeling weak more than anything, Felicia bargained with the Kingpin to obtain superpowers after nearly being killed by Dr. Octopus, but this cost her relationship with Spider-Man and wasn't enough to save her from nearly being killed by Venom. When promised limitless power by a mental avatar of the divine magic of Yggdrasil, Felicia nearly accepted when offered limitless riches and revenge against everyone who'd ever wronged her, but was outraged and disgusted when it suggested she use her godhood to brainwash her former lovers into becoming her personal harem. Felicia's often ruthless vindictiveness can be shown by her swearing revenge on Spider-Man after the superior Spider-Man beat her to a pulp and left her for the police, disregarding Peter Parker's explanation that Otto Octavius had swapped minds with him, her hatred towards Eddie Brock for the time he almost killed her, and her rage towards Lee Price for having humiliated and enslaved her. While she eventually forgave Spider-Man, she continues to hold an intense grudge against Eddie despite his efforts to redeem himself, sneering that he would always be a loser and a monster in her eyes. Despite this, she is willing to set aside her grudges and work together with her enemies when faced with a threat she can't overcome alone. Attributes: powers. Psychokinesis. The Black Cat's original bad luck powers were imbued by scientists working for the Kingpin through a bargain made with him. After they were removed by Doctor Strange, Felicia sought help from a supervillain scientist, Doc Trama. She grafted cybernetic enhancements to Felicia's body, namely a quantum probability pulsator, that causes bad luck to other people. This power allows her to subliminally affect probability fields, which would cause improbable, though not impossible, events of bad luck to occur to enemies within her line of sight. As the Black Cat grew ruthless, her bad luck powers became more effective. This power also affects magic, manipulation of local probability fields, giving Felicia some protection against magical spells. The Puma's heightened senses detected Black Cat's bad luck superpower as a distinct aura, more active when she was under attack, but failed to identify its specific effect. Claws. As part of the cybernetic enhancements grafted by Doc Trama, Felicia possesses the ability to extend her nails into sharp claws. Abilities: expert thief. Felicia is a skilled, somewhat reformed, thief skilled in stealth, picking locks, escapology, evading alarms and cracking safes. Olympic-level athlete. She has reflexes, agility, and stamina of an Olympic-level acrobat, and is capable of many exceptional feats. She is physically very strong and athletic and has great physical endurance. Skilled martial artist. She has been trained in several martial arts, most notably Okinawa Goju-Ryu karate and judo, which she specializes in. Felicia is capable of taking on several armed assailants and incapacitating them without being injured herself. Her strength and, when pushed too far, ferocity in battle has proven to be overwhelming enough to defeat the mutant assassin known as Sabretooth. Weaknesses: proximity to other probability manipulators. Felicia's powers malfunction when near other people with the ability to manipulate probability. Paraphernalia. Equipment: Black Cat's costume. The costume she currently uses was designed by the Tinkerer, created using leather material, and is designed to increase many of her natural physical attributes far beyond normal human levels by means of microservos embedded into it. Enhanced strength. The Black Cat's costume increases her physical strength to levels beyond the natural limits of a woman of her weight and physical build. In fact, her strength is increased to the maximum of human potential, enabling her to overhead press approximately 800 pounds with maximum effort. Superhuman speed. The Black Cat's speed is similarly enhanced, though to levels that are slightly beyond the capabilities of the finest human athlete. Over short distances, she can sprint at a top speed of about 40 miles per hour. Superhuman agility. The costume she wears also possesses various implants. Without these implants, she has the agility of an Olympic-level gymnast. However, the implants augment her natural agility to levels that are beyond the capability and physical limits of the finest human athlete. Retractable claws. The gloves of the Black Cat's costume contain steel microfilaments that form retractable claws at the tip of each finger when she flexes her fingers by triggering a magnetic surge, which condenses the filaments into polarized talons. These claws are highly durable and razor-sharp, allowing her to tear through most substances and to easily scale walls. Equilibrium earrings. Felicia wears earrings obtained by the tinkerer that interact with the balance centers of her brain to grant her enhanced agility and balance, increasing her natural bodily equilibrium and allowing her to accomplish feats beyond the capabilities of the finest human athlete. Electromagnetic contact lenses. Felicia wears contact lenses obtained by the tinkerer that allows her to see in various ranges of the electromagnetic spectrum, such as infrared and ultraviolet light. When wearing these contacts, Felicia's eyes appear to have blue irises as opposed to the green irises that Felicia naturally possesses. Transportation. Grappling hook. The Black Cat has a miniature grappling hook device hidden in the fur of each glove, designed by her father Walter Hardy, which enables her to swing from buildings in a manner similar to Spider-Man and Daredevil, despite lacking the associated speed of either. She can also use the cable from this device as a tightrope, wall scaling device, swing line, or as a weapon in combat.
If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later, bye bye.